Alrighty, good people. September 22nd, I took a group ride up to Mount Diablo through the North Gate with a bunch of motorcyclists I met on the Bay Area Riders Forum, or BARF for short. If you're in the Bay Area and ride a motorcycle, I suggest you join. We ran up there to catch the last sunset of summer at the Equinox. Equinox, I think, was 3 o'clock in the morning that Monday, but we were there for the last sunset. If you know the East Bay, you know Mount Diablo. And if you know Mount Diablo, you know it's a glorified hill, not a particularly impressive mountain. At 3,849 feet, it is not that high. Even so, it has great views. Quoting from Wikipedia here, they describe Mount Diablo as a remarkable visual prominence for a mountain of such low elevation, with a looming presence over much of the Bay Area, Delta, and Central Valley, one of the largest view sheds in the western United States. So that's what we did, and that's the backdrop for this video.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
So it's been about 8 weeks since I've gotten this motorcycle. And in that time, I've put about 1,250 miles on it. Prior to that, I hadn't ridden a motorcycle since the late 1980s. The first time I rode a motorcycle was in the mid-1980s. I remember riding a friend's 1985 Kawasaki Ninja 600R, and I loved it. Ninjas were ubiquitous at that time. In fact, a lot of the girls of my generation have scars on their legs from where they dismounted a Ninja and cooked themselves on the exhaust pipe while dismounting from the back. At that time, no helmets were required. You'd see young guys on crotch rockets without helmets or carrying their helmet through their face shield on their elbow as if they were trying to protect their elbow in case of a crash. It looked ridiculous. Let me just say that I've enjoyed the hell out of myself, but riding a motorcycle after 30 years confirmed what I already knew, and that is motorcycles are dangerous. But back in the 80s, it was because the motorcyclists were dangerous. One guy dropped his sister off the back of his motorcycle. He was preening in front of my high school. He threw a wheelie, dropped her off the back, broke her back, and was so embarrassed that he took off, left her there. Another guy was doing 100 miles down Colorado Boulevard. Some poor lady in a VW Bug, or one of the original type Bugs, pulled out in front of him. He killed her, killed himself, and that is all he wrote. I've dropped bikes, slid motorcycles, looped wheelies, and once while the passenger on the back of a bike, the driver skidded into the back of a pickup truck. The worst situation occurred when I was speeding around a blind corner and an 18-wheeler was coming in the opposite direction halfway in my lane. I panicked, locked up the rear wheel, and launched myself over the bike and under the trailer of the truck. Luckily I wasn't run over, but I still remember the huge 18-wheeler truck wheel bouncing up and down as it was skidding to a stop, stopping within a couple of feet of my head. Luckily I was wearing a helmet at that time. Now everybody seems to be geared up, and riding seems to be much more of a social situation with a lot of information out there. Group rides, group events are common apparently. It seems like the drivers are more aggressive. They're on their cell phones, and now that cars are built so well, they feel stable at 80 and 90 miles an hour. They drive well too fast, way too fast, and they're very aggressive apparently, even to people on motorcycles, which I find ridiculous. I just don't understand them being so casual with other people's lives, but I don't understand the hostility. When you're doing 70 or 80 on a motorcycle, you know you're going fast, but in a car, apparently, it just doesn't feel it. Another strange thing I've noticed is there are a lot of women motorcyclists, which was not true back in my day. There were not a lot of women motorcyclists. Back in the 80s, the scooters became really popular. Vespas, the Honda came out with a bunch of their scooters, and you see women on scooters, but not many on motorcycles, if any, that I remember. I don't recall seeing any. I don't recall seeing any women on riding a motorcycle, and now you see them. They're all over the place.
We can go do some laps now.
Yeah.
Bad news is, I really wanted to go well. That's going to be a lot like the US.
Worse than Euro 5, you know?
No.
Yeah.
So you've been, you got this bike new?
No, I bought it used. I've had it 2 years now.
So hey, quick PSA for everyone. The good news is y'all are amazing and everything went off without a hitch. Almost. So I'm a little slide.
I didn't see anybody slide.
The bad news is y'all are amazing and we're here a little bit early. So sunset is at 7:05. For those of you that have not been to the top, there's an observation deck.
So you just visiting out here? Or you? Oh yeah. It's probably worth something now. All you see is all the kids taking the 70s CBRs and turning them into cafe racers now.
That's the fad.
That's the fad, yeah.
It's like a roadway.
Yeah. It's a highway to hell, man.
Okay, everyone, the sun has gone down. The park is likely going to be up in a few minutes.
Well, that was fun. That was funner than I thought it was going to be. I appreciate it. Thanks for having us.